Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the tactics show for Bournemouth 3, Everton 1. Me and Andy are going to go through some of the numbers and little bit of the tactics, and then there'll be more of that, I suppose, in the final word. So make sure you check that out as well. Wasn't great, and wasn't great.
Another bit stale-ish performance. I don't want to obviously get into too much because obviously I'm going to probably go over myself on the final word, but in terms of just overview, starting to get bored on watching Everton away from home, I'm going to be honest.
I thought that at times yesterday there was too much passing for the sake of passing, and side to side, slow.
Do you think it's like Martinez-ish? I'm not saying he is Martinez, but where you're trying to control a game, but it's for the sake of controlling a game, really. You'll see it in the stats as well. But in terms of, we're not really progressing the ball really that well. We're not getting one-on-ones. We're not breaking them down well. And it helped last week playing against the Wolves, where you 3-3 at the back. Like I said, we can get in behind Liverpool wing-backs then. Provides a space outside, but against back four, don't seem to be able to create the same space, and seems to affect players. The selection, which we'll also get into as well, sort of affected that as well. But
I think for me, there definitely needs to be a potential change in formation or a new way of doing something. But let's have a look at some of the stats anyway. Like I say, we'll dig a little bit deeper on the emotional side of things on the final word, I'm sure. But let's just keep this to numbers and everything else behind it. So let's look at our first slide, which is the starting 11. So here's the starting 11. Obviously, we'd lost Andre Gomez through a rib injury in training. Get more training injuries than anyone, don't we? And arguably without possibly our preferred centre midfield partnership for the season, which would have been Gabam and Gomez maybe. But this is what the manager went with. I saw your tweet actually, which it was a message to me after the team had been announced, saying I kind of understand why he's gone with that team. I did a tweet
as well, yeah. It basically, obviously if you take what happened out without hindsight, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is better in the air than both Nathan Ake and Steve Cook. I think they thought with the attacking formation, or the likely attacking formation that Bournemouth were going to play, that they were going to come on to us. So we'd have, similar to last season against other teams, we'd have a lot of space, get Calvert-Lewin working the channels, try and get him one-on-one in the air against them two players. And so I understood that. And I thought he also relieves pressure by holding it up. Schneiderlin, I understand from the perspective of obviously want to try and close the back door. His normal job is to screen in front of the centre backs and basically give them a bit of protection. So I understood it. Again, no, I wouldn't have done that, but I do understand what Silva was trying to do. He's trying to sort of be a bit more safer away from home. We don't play well away from home. He's trying to close the back door as well as kind of take advantage of a height, an early advantage up front. But did it work? Probably not. No, overall, I'm going to be honest.
And then obviously everybody else was as we
no,
thought.
Yeah,
Dom for Moise Keane. Again, we'll get into that on the final word, but that was one that caused a lot of people frustration.
That's one way for it, yeah.
And that's the way it is, isn't it? So that was that. But Bournemouth went with, it looked like a 4-4-2. Or a 4-2-4.
It's either a diamond or... It depended really, because obviously King wasn't really a left winger. He was more in the air. Slanky was behind the two of them. Wilson plays higher, and then them two sat deep, and then obviously Lewis Cook.
And obviously Everton, they give Everton a lot of the ball. Let's have a look at the stats from the game. So here's the stats from the game. Obviously, Bournemouth 13 attempts, Everton 14. 12 chances from open play,
which is better, for us. Yeah, it's better.
Bournemouth had 6 from open play, 7 from set plays, more than 50% of their attack.
A lot of silly decisions
from set plays. Everton 2.
No, in a game where you're away, you'd expect this to be. You expect these counters, but we never
counter-attack.
Nothing.
Which is weird, because I remember I'd done a lot of reading before Silva come in on the style of play, particularly away moment, counter-attacking side.
Just give the ball away.
And we just don't really do it. Bournemouth didn't either. Obviously, Everton's conversion rate, 7%.
Not good.
And the chances Bournemouth is a lot better at 23%. The passes, Everton again, over 500 passes, which, dominating the ball, 60% of the possession. Bournemouth 345. Look at the crosses. 23 crosses from Everton, 8 from Bournemouth.
That's a common thing though for Everton. It is a lot of a lot of crosses, and this is what we've talked about before about going side to side then out to the wings. You know, it's getting a bit samey, I'd say, and I think we need to vary it up. But I think the problem also with that is Luca Dean didn't have his best game crossing. Seamus Coleman, you know, is still struggling with crossing the ball, so it doesn't help. That is our tactic, but our best crosser wasn't on his game, or the right back who had chances to cross it really didn't cross it.
One of the big things for me was out of that, and I'd looked at both full-backs, is that Luca Dean had 13 crosses in the game, and Seamus Coleman had 2.
And then, and when we look at the attacking thirds of how often Everton attack down each side, it still goes more down the right. And I think that's because Gylfi likes to float. They're trying to float Gylfi out to the right to get him more space. But as I say, with the back four, it's much more difficult because obviously you get with King or Wilson, whoever's on that side, dropping in then to cover the full back, whereas you don't get that with the 3 at the back. You have the wing back exposed. But yeah, that's the issue we face.
Well, let's have a look at the average positions then. We know how Everton were supposed to line up. Let's see how exactly they did. So these are the average positions that the players took on the pitch over the 90 minutes. Again, you can see our centre forward is too deep for me.
Well, you look at the difference between Callum Wilson. You know, Callum Wilson, obviously, he's not a great all-round player, but he's a goal scorer, and he's basically on, which, if I was Bournemouth's manager, Michael Keane is the slower of the 2 centre-backs. That's exactly where I've come, and that's where he sort of floated most of the game. And that was smart by them. But then you've got, again, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is dropping far too deep. It's bunching the midfield, or the attacking midfield, and him together. Look how easy it is for them. They can just drop off into space. And, you know, obviously they wouldn't like people run at them, but we did run at them a lot in the game.
Iwobi's hidden on this thing. He's Dom's on top of him. That's how deep he was. He actually sat on Iwobi. What surprises me at times with this is that we've gone 5 against 4 at the back there, which is fine. But the only reason Josh King is so high up the pitch is because Seamus is high up the pitch.
Him back,
Whereas, and I think when you've got the other thing that I think the ideal when you play this system is that really you should have 4 or 3 players back while everybody else attacks. That's something that Silva's had through his career. So you'd have Mina and Keane, and you'd have ideally for me, you'd have Schneiderlin sat in between the 2, 10 yards ahead of them. Because no one's going to leave 3 up against 3. Nobody. Because you're going to have 7 players attacking. So they have to drop in. But Everton don't. Everton make it easy because Seamus Coleman drops in. And then what we've got yesterday on this clip as well is that Fabian Delph is actually deeper than Morgan Schneiderlin.
Which shouldn't be the case. I know he's trying to pick it up off the centre halves, which accounts for some of that, but even so, didn't really get high, did he, yesterday? And this is a common thing with Everton. You know, you look at if you ever look at tactics videos or about Barcelona, Manchester City, any of the best teams, what they use is people to pin to stretch the pitch long. So with Dom being basically we're too compact. Basically, we're too close together. We're not stretching them to find that. We're not enabling ourselves to find space between the lines because we're so compact. And you look at Bournemouth, their attackers are much further ahead of the midfielders, but then their midfielders aren't sitting on the centre-backs. And because we play a high line, essentially, our midfielders are sitting on our 2 centre-backs, and basically they should be here, and the forward should be up here, and basically creating that...
But even if one of them split it, though, you shouldn't be holding hands.
Well, exactly, that's another thing as well. So if you got, with pinning, what's called pinning, these 2 should be pinning the centre midfielders or the wingers if they're playing narrow up here somewhere, but they're not. They're pinning us back. So basically we're giving them the opportunity to basically have that gap because we're not pinning them properly.
Well, at Goodison that wouldn't happen.
No, it wouldn't because we're a different team. It's weird.
And that's the thing, because Everton would stretch them and we would be pushing on them, and that's why Everton are so fluid at Goodison Park, because we do stretch the pitch and we break.
There's an expectation when we're at Goodison as well, isn't there?
But the best teams, best teams do the same thing wherever they are.
And
that's why the likes of Liverpool, Manchester City,
they impose their will on them.
They go, this is how we play and we ain't changing. And Everton aren't doing that. And until Everton do that, I don't think we're going to progress. We're going to have these big bumps in the road.
I think we've seen enough now to, last thing on this, I think we've seen enough now to suggest that Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Gylfi Sigurdsson just don't work together. No. The number of passes we've seen between each other, and also the space they compact together. The reason Keane's better for Sigurdsson, and I've over the years I've criticised Sigurdsson certain cause. He is a good player, but to get the best out of him, you need to help him create space. He can create some space for himself, but you need to get someone to stretch him. If Keane's on, he stretches the back line further up. He opens up the gap between the central midfielders and the centre backs for Gylfi to roam in, pick up the ball. Same for Iwobi, because that's what he likes to do. He likes to come off the left and roam in between. And with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because he's always coming to face the ball and trying to hold it up, it doesn't work. And I think either Dom has to change his game or Silva just has to go with Keane going forward, even if it's to a home and away, just to give us something, just to stretch the pitch a little more, give us more space, because it's just not working at the moment.
Well, let's have a look at, just because you've mentioned Dom, let's have a look at the passing combinations for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So you're saying then about, the passing combinations with, Sigurdsson to Dom, twice in a game that Dom played 71 minutes
He's
in.
literally a position ahead of him,
played 70 odd minutes in, twice. And Sigurdsson played high up the pitch.
We basically play 4-4-2 a lot of the time, yeah.
So, we've got either Richarlison to Calvert-Lewin. Okay, well, fair enough. They're linking. They're in the final third. Obviously, Richarlison had the assist. Great ball in. Pickford.
It's bad, yeah.
Is finding Calvert-Lewin more than Gylfi Sigurdsson.
So, if you're a front man, right, and you make your movements good, and I don't want to get on Dom's back too much, but this is a part of the problem with the way he's been asked to play or the way he plays naturally, either or, is that, yes, Delph should be able to fizz a ball into a striker's feet. That should be an option to go a bit longer it's 25, 30 yards into feet. And it's just not on for whatever reason. Maybe it doesn't create enough space, or maybe, I don't know, the style of players are going too wide again. Because I bet if you looked at how many times did Delph pass to Dean, or how many times did Delph pass to Iwobi, it'd be much higher probably in the 9-10s.
Well,
that's the problem.
Talk in a minute, I'm going to look and come up with that. Check right now. But if you're looking through there, Schneidlin to Dom more than Gylfi to Dom. That to me bad, doesn't make sense really, because Morgan Schneidlin, I'll put his dashboard up in a bit, but Morgan Schneidlin passes sideways really most of the time, and he's not very progressive the way he plays. So that's why again I look at Gylfi and just think that, who else had this problem with Gylfi? Tosin.
Yeah.
When Cenk Tosun was in the side and Tosun wasn't scoring and whatever.
Gylfi needs people to make runs in behind. That's his best
that's
game.
The thing, isn't
so
it?
either you play to his strengths, or you bring him out, or you don't play him, because there's just. I'm not saying he's the problem, because he's not what he's in it.
Yeah. Delph to Dean 11 times, Delph to Mina 8, Delph to Schneidlin 8, Delph to Bernard 4. Bernard was on for 18 minutes.
More than Iwobi.
Delph to Iwobi 1.
Well, they're on the same side.
In the game.
I find it crazy.
Look at that, Delph to Bernard. Bernard was on for 19 minutes, and he had 4 passes from him.
Do you know what the problem is there? And I've seen it happen with Iwobi, and I've seen it happen with Sigurdsson as well. They both take positions inside, and the ball goes out wide all the time. It continues to happen over. It's the patterns of play on training ground. I'm not saying you should work on a stylised pattern of play, but obviously, you work on combination passing things. It just keeps going out wide.
Iwobi didn't pass the ball to Calvert-Lewin once.
He did. He fizzed it into him in the first half, and he controlled it. I don't know why that hasn't picked it up, because I watched that twice this morning.
That hasn't picked it up. It's picked everything up. Iwobi to Keane, Moise Keane 1, Schneidlin 1, Iwobi to Dean 5, Iwobi to Delph 4, Iwobi to Sigurdsson 3.
I didn't think Iwobi was in the game enough yesterday, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think either they didn't pick him out, or he wasn't getting involved. I still think obviously he's finding his feet within the side, and I think hopefully him and Delph can change, because you've seen Delph get frustrated yesterday.
Well, the biggest passing combination yesterday was, and we'll look at this now anyway, was Coleman to Richarlison.
But it does go down that side, yeah.
Which was 12. So we'll have a look at the attacking areas in which Everton and Bournemouth used yesterday. So Coleman to Richarlison 12. That was the biggest passing combination in the game. Pickford to Richarlison 3. We did see that a few times. Seen George trying to pick him out to get him going. Everton's. This is Everton here, isn't it? The top one. 39, almost 40% down the right hand side, and yet I think we had 1 cross from Richarlison and 2 crosses from Coleman. And
and you look at the other side, it's 30. So basically, 70, nearly 80% of our play, is coming from the wings, and 24%. Now you can tell. Well, on the opposite side, we'll look at why they're obviously picking on something there. We'll get that in a minute. But in terms of this, they're not. It's too much. Again, this was I think it was 19% against Villa before we made the changes in Keane and Iwobi. So now that's better, but it's below what it was. It was 27 against Wolves, and I think 26 the game after. So basically, it was still not. It was still attacking going down the sides far too much. Really, it's not. We're not varying the play enough, and defensively, we'll look at it here now. we know what this is what you can see it on the average basically is they were picking out the base of the channel. So when Coleman stepped forward, they were trying to put Callum Wilson one-on-one with Keane in space because he's picked fast. And obviously Michael Keane has had trouble in the past defending in space against pace, which it did cause him a few problems in this game as well. And again, Coleman, not the greatest defender as well. It's probably it was on the left of him. It was either King.
It was.
Yeah, King would be drifting out from and then that caused us problems. And yeah, you basically, if you look at Everton's weak point of defence, you would probably say it is Coleman and Keane. Not Keane in the penalty area because he's a very good penalty area defender. When you get him in space, he does find it difficult with his ability to stay in against quick players. But yeah.
But should Michael Keane have played deeper then?
You see, that was my thing before the season. I did say to you about you needed to drop them off 5 yards from you. So I understand that you want to play your way. You want to play high line, which is fine. A lot of teams do when you're trying to control the ball because obviously it provides that passing outlet as well. But with the lack of pace, they're not slow by any means. I don't think Mean is slow. I just don't think he's great.
Mean is quicker than Keane.
Yeah, he's not quick on the turn. That's but
once he gets going,
that's Mean. But that 5 yard burst, that they both don't have it, and where Zuma probably did. Maybe Zuma's not as solid at times as them, but he provided us with that out. But in terms of this though, dropped them 5 yards because maybe it draws a bit of pressure onto you in the sense that you drew dropping the 5 yards, but it just gives them that leeway. And if you've got like a Gabamon or a Schneiderlin, you can use them to sort of draw the centre forward back up the pitch anyway.
The biggest thing for me is the mobility of Schneiderlin. That's the biggest thing, I think. You've seen this when
he's a crab, isn't he?
Him and Garner first played together and they both wanted to do the same job. It never ever worked. And then the reason why last season, when he got back in the team at the likes of Cardiff, Garner started playing a little bit
he's a box-to-box, didn't he? Yeah.
And he improved.
He did, yeah.
It helped Schneiderlin out at times because it meant Schneiderlin could just sit and do the job. But I don't think when Delph goes and sits with Schneiderlin, I just don't think it helps us. And
Gomez and Schneiderlin isn't great because Gomez is sitting far too deep as well.
But that's again, it's down to the mobility though, isn't it? Alongside them. That's what I'm saying. Whereas Garner and Gomez, because Garner would sit, but he was mobile. Gomez could drop in and Garner and push on, or vice versa. So yeah, I mean that 50, almost 50, well 54% coming down Coleman, James Coleman and Richarlison says not great because that to me looks like they've totally identified.
But you would do, and I think other teams have done it into the past, especially when I think Tottenham absolutely slaughtered us when Cuco Martina played down that side once.
I looked at Coleman's defensive numbers; they weren't bad. He won every aerial duel 4. He had his tackles. I think he won 2 out of 3 tackles or something like that. But it's everything that's around.
It's positional as well, yeah. And I don't like to get on Coleman's back.
Obviously the goal come. Yeah, 2 goals come down that side.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, because the ball from Rico for the third over the top, and obviously again the isolated Michael Keane and Mean off the.
I mean that was a challenge, wasn't it? Seamus, but Seamus was. Yeah. Let's move on to something you're gonna explain, which is the XG.
Yeah, okay. Always fun for people to try and explain to. Yeah.
So come on, and what's this?
So XG is expected goals. So essentially, it's a measurement of how likely you are to score based on the position of the goalkeeper, the defenders, and where you're taking the shot from. And they measured 400,000 shots, and basically they put in a value on it. So based on this game, it probably should have been a draw. So you can see that Bournemouth got quite lucky. Yeah. So this is Bournemouth here. So that's the second goal came from.
Okay.
Conceivably, they shouldn't have scored that. Look how small. But that chance for Callum Wilson, that was like 0.55 XG, which so the closer to the goal, the bigger value you get, and obviously that
so
you couldn't
miss. The
stars are the goals,
the bigger ones,
and the dot. So your dots, obviously, the smaller the dot, the more likely you're to score. That one there is the Richarlison shot in the last 5 minutes.
This one.
No, that one there.
This one.
Yeah.
That's the Iwobi header.
It's the Iwobi header, and that's the Iwobi. That's the Iwobi shot there. Yeah. So yeah, apart from we didn't really create a lot really. If I'm honest, we did create a lot. These aren't good shots. Shouldn't be really. I know one of them at the bar for Charleston, but like we need to be creating better shots. We don't really create stuff around the 6-yard box. It's a lot of penalty box, outside the box chances. But I think overall, based on the quality. Now, obviously, we created 14. They created 13 chances. Based on the quality, Everton shaded it, but it should have been probably a draw. That one was a fluke goal, really. The one, the Fraser one, you wouldn't score that many of the times, and it was just bad. And that one should have been ruled out, shouldn't it? Forget it. Exactly. So
stuff,
So essentially, the quality, Everton need to up this. But saying that, Everton out of all the away teams on the weekend were 4th in terms of XG. But overall this season, it's quite even. Based on the quality of the chances we're creating in games, we should only have 5 points. So we should have probably drawn all our games. Is what the XG is. Now that obviously XG is not a perfect summation. Obviously, it doesn't count in for moments of moments of luck or whatever. But it just shows that we do need to create better chances in games, and I think we are creating some good chances, but not a lot of good chances. If you're going away from home. We had made the keeper make 5 saves. You want that in nearly the double figures. You'd either had some bit better. We need to be better in that area.
And let's have a look at these X stats then. Go on.
Yeah, so percentage of good chances. So XG, as I said before, there's the number of shots on target. Deep progressions. So deep progressions is completions within 20 yards of the box. And we got into their box and passed around a bit. And that's why obviously we've got 9 compared to their 3. So I'm going to be honest, Bournemouth quite lucky yesterday too. You know what I mean? They didn't really we weren't really under siege from that at all. We weren't peppering our goal with shots. Pickford had to make one good save off Solanke, I think. So
straight at him, that would have gone in.
We had more possession in and around their goal, and we should have probably took more advantage. PPDA is passes per defensive action. So essentially, that means that's how many passes you allow per defensive action. Everton again didn't allow Bournemouth to be really good. Bournemouth allowed us a lot of the ball. We passed it around, but what did we really do with the ball? So that is a good stat for pressing. So it shows how good you press. And again, Everton's press is one of the best in the league. However, Bournemouth are going long sometimes to try and isolate Keane and whatever. That is a good number. We are obviously good against the press. Are we using the ball well enough though? So it marries up. And X points again. So basically, based on this result again, we should have had a point. That's based on the chances created, based on overall the data that which favoured us. We should have at least had a point in that game. But that's football. Things can go against you. But Everton on the majority of play weren't that bad yesterday. I know I sort of was upset yesterday. But when you watched it again this morning, it wasn't as bad as I thought. But there's still a lot of problems that we've got that we're not with that. We haven't played well this season. I'm going to be honest. That's the issue.
I think the issue for me is the 3 away games.
Yeah.
1 goal scored, 1 point taken against 3 teams that for me aren't very good.
And
that's the reality.
If you're honest, you've got to beat them teams to get top 6. Yeah.
So we're going to have to start massively improving away from home, because we can't, as good as our home form is, and I think that'll continue, we can't rely on our home form. You have to register 6 or 7 wins at least. You need at least to get into. If you just look at a broad view of it, you need to win 14 home games, 13 home games. 13 home games is 29. It's 39 points. Couple of draws.
You need over 25 points away from home. Yeah.
So you need to get 25 points away.
And we looked at it before, and it's not been great. We've only got once in the last 5 seasons.
We've won 6 games in 41 away games.
Yeah, that's not good.
That tells you everything you need to know. That is our view of stats-wise of what happened. It does paint the thing with looking at the likes of the stats, and I had a look at the lowlights of yesterday. I'm calling them the highlights. Again, you'd watch the game again. We weren't as bad as what your eyes tell you at first, because obviously you're
emotional. Yeah.
I was moaned the whole way through the game yesterday. I was just angry because I sat down thinking, we can do these. Let's not have this. Everton can go second and then just get beat, or third, whatever it was. And we did. It's almost like we're just so predictable. And that's what wound me up yesterday. I'll sit through other games we'll lose and be calmer and be able to assess it properly. Yesterday wound me up because of the predictability. And because 2 weeks ago we were at Villa and we lost, and this one was the same. And it's the predictability that I think causes everybody to lose their minds.
Yeah, exactly. And when you watch the game, this is why I always say, sometimes you need the data as well, because you've got bias as well. I want Everton to play a certain way that I like. You obviously expect Everton to play a certain way, and if they don't, then it sometimes affects of how you consider a game. And I think the data sort of makes you think, actually, we did create a few shots there. So it sort of balances your view. But yeah, it is predictable. The patterns of play are too predictable, and the way we play, and the style of play, and the formation is all too predictable. I think teams are onto it based on Eddie Howe sending over half of his tacks down one side. I think we've got weaknesses that teams are going to start picking up on, and we need to change. Yeah.
We'll do more of that, obviously, on the final word, more emotional talk, and we'll see what the big fella thought of it. Big Pedro, back after chilling in Wales for a week, see whether or not Everton
Playing
decided
racquetball and Batelli with Rob De Niro, yeah.
what was a lovely break for the big fella. Let's see. Make sure you check the final word out for that. Be interesting because I haven't actually had a direct conversation with Ped about this, so some WhatsApp stuff. But
He
let's
looks very excited.
He's just walked in and he looks like he's ready. So
coming in
let's
hot.
see. Let's see. Big thanks to Andy. Yeah, enjoyed the stat show. There's another one. We'll be doing another one next week where we'll be talking about Everton 5, Sheffield United 0, and a Brazil 1970s style performance.
And I won't be making any predictions.
From the Blues. And Andy's banned on predictions after last week. I told him. Thanks for watching. See you later.